Sellers are facing a deadline here in Missouri. State lawmakers just sent a bill to the governor to remove intoxicating hemp products like seltzers and gummies from store shelves. Hannah Falcon is telling us how this bill could impact Missourians.
All things hemp.
Our mellow gummies we designed for anxiety and pain.
That's what you'll find at Slap Happy Hemporium in Rosebud, Missouri, owned by John Grady.
You don't get really many people coming in to get high.
But these seltzers, gummies, and salves are not long for the shelves.
All of these beverages are on death row. Grady tells me they have to be sold before November 12th or his business loses the investment.
The Missouri General Assembly just sent a bill to the governor's desk to regulate intoxicating hemp products. If signed, any hemp products with more than 0.4 milligrams of THC will be removed from shelves November 12th.
Those products that are not intoxicating, like CBD, those will still be allowed.
Jack Cardetti with Missouri Cannabis Trade Association says this bill aligns Missouri with the federal government and protects children from having access to intoxicating products.
Thousands of unlicensed, unregulated shops selling cannabis in their stores.
What do you say to small business owners who are now concerned about their livelihood?
There was a loophole. Some of them, not all of them, took advantage of that. Now they'll just have to go by to the rules that were there before.
What could be next for your business?
Well, we don't know.
Grady hopes Governor Mike Kehoe will veto the bill, although hemp regulations is something he called for in his State of the State address this year. Reporting in Jefferson City, I'm Hannah Falcon.